Welcome to Midweek Manna. We'll drop a food for thought, and hopefully this will be enough substance to hold you over until your Sunday service. I want to talk a little bit about Jacob and Esau just for a second. I want to go to Genesis, the 25th chapter. I want to start at the 19th verse. And I said, and these are generations of Isaac, Abraham's son. Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian, of Paddan-aram, and the sister of Laban, the Syrian. And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife, because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together with her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord, and the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And I just want to talk a little bit about stealing what's yours. And I know you say, how is that possible? Stealing is actually taken from somebody else without knowing. Yours is actually yours. You own your own possession. So how can you steal what's yours? I'll explain to you what I mean. As we talk about these two, we know they wrestled in the womb, and we know that Esau came out first. We know that Jacob had the heel and was trying to get out first. And even in that, Satan always is working. And so Satan will try to ruin God's plans in his infant stage. Because the word already said that the older will serve the younger. So why would you try to come out first? I wouldn't. If I knew that, my sister who was older was going to serve me, I'd try to stay in there as long as I could. But yet there was Satan trying to work. And so Jacob, he was in a rush, all right, to an appointment that he actually needed to be late for. And in that, even with their battling with each other, Satan wants us to compete. And where there's competition, there's division. Think about it. And in every division, there's a great rivalry. If you think about football, I'm a big Baltimore Ravens fan, right? But in our division is the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Cincinnati Bengals. We're not all on the same page as fans, because I know if I'm going to a Cleveland Browns game, I'm going to be going for the Ravens. Therefore, we're divided. It shouldn't even be division in church. I mean, sports, I get it, because you're actually competing, but we shouldn't be competing when it comes to God's blessings. So Esau, we know, he sold his birthright to Jacob. He knew he did, and so that's on him. But far as the blessing part from his father, his mom helped him set up a plan. And, I was trying to figure out what the difference was a blessing and a birthright. A blessing could be given regardless of a birthright. However, the greater blessing was given to the one who held the birthright. And a side note, for his mother, a lot of us is being coached to steal what's ours. A lot of us is being coached to scheme and trick. And it didn't just start from us. We're being coached. Most time the coach is our parent, but I believe that for another day. Once Jacob was taught to do what he was doing for his mom, his job was to counterfeit that circumstance. So he was using fraud to fulfill his flesh. He was a counterfeit Christian. He speak the language of a saint as he spoke to his father, but he was doing the work of sinners. And our flesh always tells us what we want to hear. If we rush prophecy, we would delay the promise. Once again, if we rush the prophecy, we would delay the promise. Prophecy said that the older would serve the younger. But because you had to scheme to get it, you weren't able to get it right when it was time for you to get it. He didn't steal from Esau, like I said before, but he did steal from Isaac. He stole the trust. And I always say the trust fund. And now he has become a fugitive of his own blessing. Now he's on the run, and you end up running from what you should have walked into. So instead of walking into the kingdom, as we know later on, he had to wrestle into the kingdom. You don't have to be in competition for your calling or your blessing. That's what we get caught up in. Us as Christians, we see a pastor doing great. We see a first lady doing great. We see ministry work. We see buildings, people getting lots and community centers, churches, and then we want to take what's theirs. No, they worked for that, or that was called for them. We need to find out what we're called for. But the problem is we're always looking at what everybody else is doing. That's not what that's for. Not here. How can I help and show the light and be a light if I'm doing what other people are doing? I shouldn't be doing as a Christian what we do at games. Being a Christian is not a game. Being a Christian, we shouldn't be fighting against each other. But yet, when we do those things, we end up trying to steal, manipulate, and hurt the competition. That's not what this is for. What I learned from this was Jacob was already promised what he was going to get. But his mother wanted him to get it sooner than it was time. And therefore, it put her son on a run and actually put him back steps compared to how he would have been ahead if you actually would listen to what God had to do. It's sad when you have to steal your own things. And I think about OJ, right? And you heard about when people had his merchandise that he actually had lost, but yet he went and stole. And what happened when he stole? He got put behind bars. We put ourselves physically and spiritually in prison because of our actions that we have to own up to or have to do the term before we can actually get out. Let's do things the right way. Whatever we do, let's get it. When God calls, just answer the phone. A lot of times he calls and people pick up the phone and then we're upset because that other person picked up the phone and we want to take that call. No, his call is his call. His call is not my call. So I'm just dropping the food for thought, letting you know that if we do things the right way, we won't delay, all right? But there's no need for us to rush. There's no need for us to go at the pace that God wants you to go at. And when you go at that pace, then you'll be able to rightfully get what's yours. Thanks for tuning in to Midweek Manna, and we'll see you next week.